Okay, guys, we figured out the technical difficulties. We will be getting going here in just a moment. Um, just some weird issue with YouTube was not connecting to the video we made. It ended up just connecting to a new one. It would create a new one. So, um, still a little new at it, but we appreciate Maria's time. We're very sorry that we're going to end up only having 5 minutes with her. So, um, you're gonna
We
want to
swear we're better
post
at this,
that.
Maria.
Bernice, I'm gonna talk to Maria real fast if you want to post the
Yeah,
updated link to the socials
I will do that right
and
now.
say where to go. Okay, Maria, quick fire since we don't have a ton of time here now.
Okay.
Um, with you, we were gonna go over all the stuff about the relay. I think Jess will still jump on, so we can still do some of it.
Yep.
Um, Questions I had written down for Jess and Maria. First off, Maria, congratulations on being captain of Team Canada.
Thank you.
Captain Canada.
Oh, thank you.
Uh,
Oh, there she
Hello.
is.
there you go.
Hey,
Are
Jess.
you? Have you picked your team yet?
I have picked 3 out of 4 people on my team.
Does that include yourself?
Yes. So 2 others I have picked, and then I am still thinking about the very last person, which we have till Friday. And I carefully think through, and I've put side by side up about people, their stats, and all that stuff.
Nice. Um, okay. Well, we'll go off of how do you expect Team Canada to do? What did you guys do last year?
Last year we got 7th out of 19. This year I'm hoping for top 5, but I know there's going to be some really strong teams, even stronger than last year. So that's why the 4th person is so important.
That's awesome. Uh, do you know what stations your team's doing yet?
I know what stations I want to do. I have it in my head what everybody's doing. I just have to make sure that they're all cool with it.
Nice. All right, since we'll go into more depth with Jess about the doubles questions, but I'm curious on your opinion too, because Jess, Maria has a hard stop at 3 minutes from now, so trying to knock out some
Oh, okay.
questions. Uh, Maria, what do you guys have any plans for doubles after Worlds? If they do Elite 15 doubles again, like rolling it back?
Oh, like, do Jess and I have plans?
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't talked beyond worlds. I mean, I'm always down. I think Jess and I have developed like a new friendship this year. I really obviously like her as a person and stuff like that. And so I think as we continue to evolve in like our athletics and like the elite space, like I would totally go after it again.
Nice. Yeah, I think you guys actually fit pretty well together in terms of how you race your doubles. So it'd be cool to see you do it. And do you have any, ideally for you guys, since they haven't announced or nobody knows what the qualification standards to make Elite 15 doubles for next year is going to be, do you have any preferences?
Um,
How would you like to see it? Same as this year? Different setup?
I think like I like when if they do it, I like for them to provide opportunities across like different areas, obviously in different countries, because it is hard being Canadian, having to always travel to the U.S. As well as traveling to Europe and stuff to make these types of races happen, like anything like the LCQ and doubles. So I like that they do spread it out. So like Miami was close enough and reasonable enough for me to fly right before we went to Barcelona. So I didn't mind the qualification process this year. I don't know, Jess, if you have any thoughts on that one.
I liked how they've got it set up with the 5 races, and I think it's fair to have that race head to head, and that's how you earn your spots. I think it would be cool if they took it like the same approach as they do for like the solos. Like maybe you have a qualification for the majors, let's say, for a doubles as well as the solos, and did it that way. Um, you'd have like a 15 leaderboard like we do in the solos, and then you got your invite to race it at a major. Um, but I think it's the best approach to have that head to head. Just you're getting new faces in that maybe you're not seeing on the solo side.
Nice. Yep. Um, so last question, Maria, because I know you got to jump. Uh, how is prep for Worlds different? Which events are you doing at Worlds, and how is it different since it's not a long international travel? You're actually kind of close to Chicago, so
Um, I mean, A, it's less expensive to get there. B, less time traveling, so I don't have to go as early, which is nice. So I can spend more time kind of like in my normal training environment. And then, do you say, sorry, your last question, your other question was like, how's prep for Worlds?
yeah, like so if it was a long international travel, like we saw JK and Joanna, they flew over to America weeks ago, and they still have weeks left until Worlds, so they're here acclimating. Versus you're like one time zone away,
Yeah.
right? So easy travel there. What's the difference in travel, and like, are you still doing individual age group? I just want to tell the audience. I think I know the answer
Oh,
to all
yeah.
these questions. So are you still
Oh,
doing
okay.
individual age group to? Uh,
Um, yes, I'm doing a lot of racing that weekend. So individual age group on Friday, then the relay Friday as well, and then the elite doubles on Saturday. I think for me, spending more time in like my home environment where I have my gym, my usual routine is beneficial for me. I find when the travel isn't huge, I can perform a little bit better. I'm in more of my normal environment, and I think that just like reduces stress for me in general. So for me, like prep is still prep in terms of like training and stuff like that. That doesn't necessarily change, but just like how far in advance I have to go isn't as big as an impact. Whereas when we went last year to France and stuff like that, you're thinking more ahead now, like, okay, I need to adjust, need to travel early. And it takes a little bit more planning to make it all work.
nice, awesome. All right. If you have to jump, thank you,
Thanks,
and
Maria.
No
we
problem.
will. I really
Apologies for
appreciate.
the
Sorry about
technical
those.
difficulties.
Yeah, sorry about those technical difficulties, but we'll get into
All good.
some of the other things we were planning on talking about.
Okay.
Maria, when will
And
you announce your relay team, do you think?
I will probably announce it. I mean, we have to submit by Friday.
Hmm.
So I'll probably tell HYROX Canada, and if they want to do a post about it, I'm sure we'll announce it maybe Friday.
Have you done any trials like Bo Wills in New Zealand?
Um, no, no, not really. I kind of put it out there that I was like open to having people like if they wanted to be considered. And then when people would say yes, then I would kind of go look at their history with HYROX, what some of their races have been. We talk to them about like where their strengths are in the race and see if it fit kind of
yeah,
what I needed. And then I look at their high results too and kind of see what they did individually. I know obviously relay you can go a bit faster, but it's always good to get a sense of kind of like the athlete they are. So all the high result stuff helped a lot too for me to narrow it down.
nice.
That's good. Sounds like you've done your research.
Too much. It's like and like analysis paralysis. Now I'm like, I don't know what to do. But I'll figure it out. It's all good.
You will. Oh, we'll see you in Chicago.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Maria. All right. Hi,
Jess
Jess.
Pettrow.
Hello.
Sorry,
Um,
few technical difficulties this morning.
No worries. Can you guys hear me okay?
We
little
can. There was,
quiet,
I
but
think there was a plane maybe going over your
Yeah,
head.
you guys are a little like soft, so I can't hear you quite great, but I think it's probably because I'm also it's a bit noisy here.
Might be. I'm just checking.
that's
Yeah, I think our mics are up.
yeah. I turned it up on my
Might
computer just so I could hear, but hopefully we're still loud enough for you.
might
Watch,
just
we're
be
gonna.
Nashville audio.
Yeah, I know.
How has training been, Jess?
Oh, it's been awesome. I think you know, just having like a group around you that to train with. I think like all of us have trained individually in our own areas before coming together to train, and I think there was a part of all of us that were a little apprehensive at like how that setup would be and how we would all kind of gel together and doing our own training, and you know, making sure that never influenced any of us either, how one of us was performing. But it's been really great having everyone together and just feeding off each other and just having that support system around. And it's really just showing like how much extra you can push when you really do have that. So it's been a lot of fun too.
Yeah, it must be good just to have, as you say, just the people around that you're so used to probably training by yourself. Even if I can imagine you're not all kind of doing your same workouts together all the time, you're probably still doing your own thing, are you?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we have, there's some sessions that we have done together, but we're still making sure that there are definitely sessions that we are doing individually as well. Um, but even when we are doing separate stuff, you know, everyone's still kind of around, and that makes a difference as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And tell us how's living with JK and Georgie?
Oh yeah, we're like best buds now.
Oh, good. You haven't killed each other.
Yeah. No, it's been a really good setup. I think Ted has actually flown in early. He was supposed to come next week for the last 2 weeks that I'm here, but he was getting FOMO, so he had to fly in early. And he's flying back for a work shift over the weekend, and then he'll come back again. But all four of us together in the house, but it's been really good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I think
Are you?
my husband Dan has FOMO. Dan loves Teddy, Anthony. They have a little bromance going on.
They do.
That's awesome. Are you there up until? Are you going from Nashville to Chicago? Or are you going back home first before you go to Chicago?
Yeah, I'm actually going to fly back home to Jersey for I think it's about a week, just short of a week, and then I'll fly into Chicago. Yeah.
So I had a couple questions lined up for you, but I don't know if you're allowed to answer all of them. First, I was going to ask you: have you been asked to be on the Australian team for the relay?
Oh, am I able to even say that? Hasn't been dropped yet.
You
I don't
might
know.
not.
Because my only question was if you were asked, you're one of, I suspect, well, if you include the captains right now, then there's 6 people that we know of that are going to be competing in all 3 elite races. And if you were asked, then you are added to that list, so you would be number 7. And then there's other men and women that like we suspect. I mean, I would suspect that JK is going to be asked to be on the team, but I don't know. Maybe there's animosity and he's going to get booted off. You never know. So
Yeah.
the the question I had, yeah, was just pertaining to that because I was wondering what you thought about people racing all 3 races, and if you would consider, if you were asked, would you ever say no because you're worried about your doubles for the relay?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because obviously, yeah, running the 3 races back to back to back is a big ask of our bodies over the weekend too, isn't it? But if I am on the relay team, I would, well, if I got asked to be on the relay team, I wouldn't deny it because I think that it's just such a great opportunity and a privilege to line up against the other Australian athletes. Plus, I do think that the relay in particularly kind of plays to more of the athlete that I am. So I think it's actually probably like more of a stronger suit for me, and I have a lot of fun doing it. So I wouldn't turn down the opportunity.
That's awesome.
I think that's one thing people have to remember is the relay. It's such a different race to a doubles and to a solo, isn't it, Jess? So obviously, as
Yeah.
you say, it actually plays to your strengths, and you've got the experience of having done it already last year as well as JK.
Yeah.
But I guess anyone else who's picked for the team potentially may not. So, what state, out of interest, do you recall what stations you did last year in the Australian
Yeah,
relay team?
I did the farmer's carry and then the warbles.
Okay, yep.
How
Well, we'll
was
see
that?
what happens this year.
How was that break in between those? Did you feel like you had enough of a rest with just the lunges? Because I'm assuming that's probably maybe 7 minutes.
Yeah, honestly, I think like if you ask most HYROX athletes, if hey, you're going to get a 7 or 8 minute break, you'd be like, beautiful, like that. That's a dream come true. So I
Full
honestly
rest
felt like it
recovery.
wasn't that bad. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so okay, well, I had a lot of questions about if you or anybody else was gonna do the 3 races in a row, but I'll just say the other that we know of from the captains right now for the relay. So the relay captains that we know are also involved in the individual and the doubles, right? So those people would be Lauren Weeks, Joanna Breitstrick, Jake Dearden, Tim Vinish, Hitty Wiersma, and Bo Wills. So those are the people that have already qualified for individual and for doubles and were selected as captain of their team. And then I'm sure that there's a lot of other men and women out there who last week we said there was 10 men and 10 women on each side who are qualified in individual and doubles. And so of those, there's got to be a lot more than just these 6 that are doing all 3. Um, but Jess, did you look at the relay who all the captains were?
Yeah, I did as they were posting them. Yeah, it was interesting to see. I was excited to kind of see who would get selected and, how that would potentially change who is going to get picked on each team too. So I'm keen to see who actually is going to be racing in that relay.
Nice. Did you have to go to your team captain like other people did and be like, here's me, here's who I am. Can you pick me?
Yeah, well, so yeah, Joe's obviously our team captain, and I'm obviously in person with her right now. But I didn't want to be putting any pressure on her to pick me. I think she'll make the right decision for the team and who she thinks is going to be the best fit. So I never wanted to influence her choice or put any kind of stress or pressure on her, because I know that could be a stressful thing, especially if people are trying to message her, pick me, and I didn't want to add to that for her.
Nice.
Solid answer, Jess.
What place did you guys come in last year?
I think we came 8th by memory.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Look, I know I'm biased, but I think depending on the team, Australia's in with a pretty good chance this year.
Yeah, America, I'm sorry, we're coming for you.
There's some good teams.
Anthony, remind me, America came second last year to England.
That's right. Well,
right.
remember last year too, and I heard this was misquoted before. Last year there was $20,000 to the relay team, but only the champion. So you think that's $5,000 per person. They haven't announced any prize money for that I've seen for individuals, doubles, or relay yet. But once they do, I'm wondering if that's going to extend further down for the relay teams, or if it's just going to stay only the winning team.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how they break that up.
Yeah.
Jess, I know you can't talk to the Australian relay team because Joe's got to announce it, but do you have any thoughts on who you think might be in the American team, for example, or the England team? They're probably our 2 biggest competitors, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Bernice. I think on the girls' side for America, obviously Lauren, and I would think probably, it's hard to say, I guess Meg, just based off, performance. And then when it comes to the guys, I think that's a bit of a hard choice, isn't it? Because there's so many good competitors, and like we spoke about, you have to, almost take back your pure HYROX racing and think about how they would perform in that relay setup, who's got maybe a little bit more power to perform to be able to run a really fast 1K and to be able to station really hard and fast. I think you got to go Hunter. And then for the other male, maybe a Rich Ryan.
Yeah, he's had a good season.
Yeah. And then UK, yeah, that's a tough one. Maybe
it's tough because you got
I'm actually not even sure on the guys who would get picked.
Yeah.
Maybe a Jake Williamson. He was in the team last year, right?
He was.
Yeah, he was.
Okay. And then on the girls, I think you would have to go Kate. She was actually my pick, who I thought would be team captain for the UK. So I would probably definitely put Kate in, and then potentially a toss-up between Lucy and, I'm not sure I'm saying her name right, Sinead?
Yeah, Sinead, yep.
Sinead, yeah, okay. She seems
It's
to be
tough.
She's got a very fast running background, and she seems pretty strong on the station, so she might be a good choice.
Anthony, I know we've spoken about, I think maybe on our last episode, that we were talking about how you think that the doubles race will come down to strategy, not necessarily fitness on the day with that top notch. Do you think the same for the relay?
Yeah, because the relay I think comes maybe even more down to strategy because you have to find what's best for each position. It might not be that person's best station, but it's what they're gonna perform relative to everyone else at. Like, because you want to maximize what stations. Maybe the women lose 30 seconds in the burpees to the guy doing the burpees, but maybe the women on your team lose 40 seconds in the sled. So maybe it's not the best strategy all the time to put a woman on the burpees, but if they're losing more time on the sled, then you would switch it up. But it really comes down to each person, how they're going to organize their team. And there's a lot of, and I don't think, I mean, these athletes, the ones that are selected they're so fit that like it's really how you plug and play. And there is going to be a little bit more of an element of fitness, I think, than in the doubles, but there's also going to be strategy in how you're racing. Like, do you want to push the run a little bit harder, even though it's going to take away from something from your station work, because you need to get in a better position to come out of that station to tag your teammate. Like, there's going to be a lot of gaming back and forth, I think, on what it is. And last year you saw people rubbing elbows and kind of throwing elbows. So I don't know if that'll be seen again, but hopefully not. But yeah,
It's
there's
also,
a lot of
oh,
strategy.
yeah, I was gonna say it's a tough race to actually know the results that quickly because and not to criticize genders here at all, but just naturally, if you have the male athletes who are starting, and you have a few female athletes there as well, it just might naturally be that the male athletes, they get that lead for that particular station, first, second, or third station. It's just going to be a hard race to actually follow that. You might think that a particular team is on top for majority of the race, but they actually might end up coming in sixth or seventh, depending on what the back end looks like. Like, I feel like it's going to be a lot of toing and froing between the teams, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like there's going to be a lot of jostling between them.
Yeah.
So the question is like, what stations will you see both the mixture of men and women running at the same time, and are these guys like going to cut any of the women off? Are they gonna like, because in the men's race you see it all the time where like they're shoulder to shoulder and they kind of bump. But what happens when they're running next to one of these women that are not the same size as the guys that are running, and they just like naturally do it? Like, I'm just curious. Hopefully, we don't see any injuries that way. But it's interesting too because I there's always an element of ego in the races, but I wonder if a guy is running next to one of the women, if they just put a little bit more in because they're like, I gotta pass her. Like I can't be beat by them. So I wonder if there's that feeling in there on their stations.
That's a good point you bring up too, Anthony. Yeah, like let's say if a girl's out in front and they have like a 50-meter lead and they're just like gunning to like chase them down, and then hey, how does that catch you in the station, or how what does that do to you? Very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a bit of male ego that comes in there.
Yep.
It's usually on the guy's side too. So
I was going to say almost definitely.
so
I was actually just looking just for interest for everyone. Last year's relay team was obviously England who won. So they did that in a time of 50 minutes and 35 seconds. That was, Sandy, Kate Davies, Zara, Jake Williamson. I mean, the run times, do you both agree that you kind of need to be doing almost like a sub 3:30 to be successful within this relay team? I'm looking at, forgetting about run 1 and 8. Run 2 to 7, I think the slowest run time for the winning relay team last year was 3:36.
wow.
Yeah.
The fastest was 3:03.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fast.
Will
Like,
we see a sub 3 minute lap by someone?
Maybe. I mean, we don't know what it looks like in Chicago yet, but the
True.
way Chicago's ran before, yeah, you could see some really fast laps.
Absolutely.
Because Chicago previously has had those long straights and the like tight corners, but it'd be interesting. Anyway, running through, we were going to run through the captains here, but I just wanted to back up 1 second because Jess, you said that you thought Kate was going to be captain of the UK or the English team, and I just honestly I did too. Like I thought I couldn't believe she wasn't, because to me, and maybe it's highly biased, but she's the highest placing UK or English woman ever in a major or a championship when she podiumed in Hong Kong. And then, so before that, it was Rebecca Mason who got 5th at Worlds. And Kate's also, she was in all 4 majors. She's the 3rd fastest European woman ever based on PR. And then she was in all 4 majors. She finished last year at Worlds. She went 6th in individual, 1st in pro doubles. They won overall pro doubles, her and Zara. And then they got 1st in the relay. Right, so she went 6-1-1 last year. She's the fastest English athlete, women's English athlete, and she qualified for Elite 15 doubles. And I heard that it was the captains were supposed to be selected on like ranking and like involvement in the community. Well, involvement in the community, Kate and her family, they did a fundraising event for the Children's Hospital in was it London, or at one of those English events, and they raised like $15,000 for the community there to do that. And so when she wasn't selected, I was just like, oh. And that's nothing against Jake. I think Jake is a great athlete himself. He qualified for individual and doubles. And obviously, like, he is somebody that was obviously going to be on the team. So it's just interesting that Kate wasn't selected, but maybe she will be on the team.
Yeah, I hope she does get a spot on the team because she definitely deserves it. From like last year's performance into this season as well.
Yeah. But I did see. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw. Jake did put out like, here, go do these workouts as an audition for people to be on the teams. And I know in the background, I don't think she's gonna do them. But we'll see what's selected.
When are the actual teams, do you guys know, are going to be like announced to everyone?
I think that captains have until Friday to submit their teams.
So it might potentially be next week, I guess.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then, I had the trifecta. Okay. Anyway, were there any other surprises to you guys in terms of the captains for the other countries? And we can go through who all the captains are and what country they represent. And we put little notes here about some of them that we were able to find stuff on. So.
I'm trying to think.
I think for me, oh no, sorry, you go, Jess.
No, I was just going to say, I don't think there was anything that really kind of stood out except for the UK team for me. That was really the biggest surprise.
Yeah, that was probably for me too. But that's interesting, Anthony, that I was actually going to pose the question of, do we know how HYROX actually picks the team captains? So that's interesting that you found out that it's based on, not only their performance.
I don't know if that was it or if it was just left to like the affiliate managers or something, but maybe it was something based on like ranking and community.
It feels a little bit to me, and I think there's pros and cons to this approach, just personally, that they are trying to share the captain roles around this year so that it's not the same captains as last year. And I can understand that from one point of view. I guess another point of view, I kind of go, I think it still needs to be, the best performer from that country, as well as probably leadership experience. I guess the thing is, countries such as New Zealand, like there is no one but Beau Wills, for example, that I would personally name as captain. So for countries such as that, it's kind of a given who it is. Whereas I guess countries like ours in Australia, in England, in America, like that role, it can be shared around. But again, I'm sure as the years go on, like HYROX might come up with more of a criteria for how it's picked. I'd just be intrigued to know what that criteria is, if there is any, or if it's more just looking at it broadly and thinking how we can share this role around rather than the same captain each year.
Yeah. I think also HYROX is probably trying to use the relay to get more exposure from athletes that we don't typically see in the solo or the doubles, to bring in, a very specialist type athlete if we can find someone. So I think HYROX is maybe trying to do that as well by picking some different captains that might have certain reaches to different athletes to bring them in. And maybe as the years continue, we might see that across the board, or maybe even this year too. That'd be exciting to see.
I actually love that you bring that up, Jess, because I know I won't get into the full story. Anyone who was knew about the relays last year, James, my brother, copped a lot of flack for picking some athletes and not picking others. But I think one thing I should say just off the back of that is just respect the captain's decisions, because they're making these decisions for a reason. And as you point out, Jess, that I think it's just a great point you make, that they may have another network of athletes. They may have another strategy in mind. Like, let's just not look for the four who we perceive fastest athletes. Like, let's look at other strategies. As Anthony was saying, like, it may be strategy. It most likely will be strategy that wins you the relay. So
Yeah.
I know that we can't tell people to not be negative. People are going to anyway, because they're going to have their own opinions. But I would just encourage people to respect the captain's decisions. It's a tough role.
If you guys, do you guys follow Moritz First Day, the co-founder of HYROX, on Instagram? If you don't, you should. He posts on his stories a lot, and so a lot of the things that he posts on his stories about is trying to get HYROX into the Olympics. And so you have to think that they are forward-looking. At, what do they do for that? What do they like? What kind of routes do they have to take? And when you want to be in the Olympics, or you look at the Olympic sports that have come before HYROX that have made their way in, look at like triathlon and tennis and stuff. The goal is to get a lot of medals, right? If you have triathlon, you have the men's, you have the women's, and you have the triathlon relay, right? HYROX offers the individual, the relay, and the doubles. I would assume all of them try to get in there. And if you do, that's 170 athletes, not counting any crossover. So that's 85 men and 85 women, and 15 medals that they would end up giving out. And that includes like per teams, because they would give in the relay obviously 4 medals per team, so there's 12 medals just in the relay, and then they would do the individuals, and then the doubles would have another 12 medals, right? 6 and 6, yeah. So you're looking at they have a possibility of giving out like 30 medals. And so if you think about what Mo has put out his vision as the Olympics, then maybe they're heading that way.
Which would be very exciting.
Yeah, and so like maybe that's why the relay is involving the countries the way it is. It's involving everything in terms of how to get there and what it means to get there, because the Olympics does something very similar, right? It tells them all these countries, you meet this standard, you get in, and then they always invite like the host country and a couple like wild cards that are allowed to submit a team that maybe didn't qualify because they don't have enough in other events to be part of the Olympics. So now you look at like what HYROX is doing, and it's, they did the 15 teams with the most participation, and then 5 teams were wild cards. Is that like how they're setting it up? I do think as far as the relay goes, you got to include teams that have like, I can't believe Austria didn't get a team. Like when you have at least 2 Elite 15 people from there, including the men's world champion from last year, right? Like Alex Ronkovic doesn't get a team to represent. And then other really involved countries too. So I think it'll keep evolving, but as far as how they select the captains, yeah, I mean, we don't know. So hopefully
It'll be an
they
exciting
tell
race
us
to
how
watch.
and like get excited to do it though.
Yeah. Jess, this is probably such a tough question, but out of the three, oh, well, sorry, I should say potentially three, potentially three races that you could be in, which one are you looking forward to the most?
Well, it's funny because in my eyes, like I'm only doing the solo race, and I don't mean
Mm-hmm.
that any disrespect to Maria in the doubles, and if I am in the relay, but like because I guess that's the first race, that's where all my focus is like on right now, and I've kind of almost forgot that I have like the other races, which I maybe not the greatest, but um, once I get that over with, the doubles is going to be a lot of fun with Maria. Like I had the best time racing with her in Miami, and like we were, friendly on like social media and chatting with each other. But we really got to know each other when we were in Miami, and I think that experience of racing together. Um, I actually haven't raced a doubles where it's been like both partners just like going as hard and as fast as you can for the whole time. It's kind of been a mix matched partnership. So for me, the experience of like going as hard as I can, knowing that my partner right next to me is doing the exact same, like that was just a very special experience. And I think anyone who's been in that situation before with a doubles partner would hopefully understand that. So I'm excited to be able to run that back with Maria.
Yeah. Let's talk about your doubles race in Miami. Going into that race, how were you guys feeling? And did you guys have expectations to win that one? And what, with the outcome, you guys were obviously first place. So you won one of the five basically qualifying races.
Yeah, I think going in, like, our goal was obviously we were there to get one of the three spots for Chicago. And obviously we knew that there was going to be some good competition with, at first, Meg and Camilla, which unfortunately they weren't able to race, which I was actually quite disappointed at because I really did want to go up against them and race. Um, but then it was also great having Tara and Bridget alongside of us in the race. Um, and they pushed us like literally right from the get go. We were just back and forward the whole time. Um, I think with Maria and I, we were just very good. We were a very good partnership as far as like abilities. There wasn't a point in time where I felt like I was dragging her or she was dragging me. Like we were very well matched with our run pace and our station work. So I felt like that worked well for us. There's definitely some areas that we can clean up before Chicago with just transitioning and maybe just revisiting our strategy in some areas. But all in all, I think we raced really well together.
Yeah. Thought the same thing. I thought you guys did really well together. JK says Petro for president, by the way.
I did see that. I was waiting to mention that one.
I think you guys did great. I believe when I was watching, you guys had, I tuned in, I watched you guys run, and you guys had a good lead, and they were right there, and you guys would catch up and kind of pass on some of the runs. And then I saw the lunges where like Bridget just took off, and you guys were there, and I know you were anywhere from like 20 to 30 seconds down after the lunges. What were you guys' thoughts going from the lunges to the wall balls? Like, okay, we have to drop it, or we're still in a qualifying spot. Let's not worry and go home. Like,
Yeah, I think sorry, Luca, who was doing the live stream, we had a 2 lap course, and I remember coming out of the lunges, we passed him, and he said 30 seconds. And according to Maria, she said that I like physically picked my chest up and was like pumping my arms like on a mission to make up this time.
she told me that too.
But there was never a thought in my mind that I was like going to settle for second place, and that's just like the athlete that I am, I guess. Like I will fight with everything I have right to the end. And Maria was like right on board with that. So we had done our first lap. We got the 30-second cue that's how far we were behind. Next lap we circle around and Lucas says 15 seconds. So we're like, okay, like we're doing good on this run. we're dropping the hammer here. And then I remember coming into the wall ball arch, and I just took Maria was going to start the wall balls. So as we were running in, she starts taking the lead into starting the wall balls. And I remember just taking a quick glance at, I forget if Tara or Bridget was doing their wall balls, and I could see kind of their cadence, the way that they were moving. And I was like, I know both Maria and I are very strong at wall balls. And no disrespect to the way that they were moving, but as soon as I had seen that, I was like, oh, it's a wrap. Like, I know that we're about to put down these wall balls really quick and hopefully take the win, which we were lucky to do.
Yeah, it was a great race. You guys really came back. I saw you guys go in and start the wall balls. And was your plan to do 50-50, or was it planned something else?
I think from memory, the plan was Maria to do 30, myself 40 in the middle, and then her 30. And as we were going into the start tunnel, I said, look, Maria, I was like, if you feel like, I know both of us could probably hold on for longer than that. I was like, if we feel good, 50-50, let's just drop it once and like make it a quick transition. There's no need to switch again if we don't need to. So she had said that when she had come on in, like she was, I guess, at our plan of the 30, and Tara had dropped it or something, and she was like, oh, I'm holding on to it for the 50. So that kind of also gave her a little spark to hold on to it as well. And that paid off for us because we had one really quick transition. I was straight on the ball, and then we were, able to close the gap.
How that's You guys had a great race in Miami. How do you feel about Worlds now? Like time wise, you guys obviously won your race. Like there's 5 winners, right? But time wise, you guys are sitting in 9th going into the doubles. How do you feel about your guys' like chances going into that race? I just say I don't think you guys are going to finish 9th.
Yeah, I think, I think it's going to be also interesting because we have to account for the fact that a lot of people racing the doubles are going to have multiple races on their legs as well. And both Maria and I are going to be in that same situation. So it's almost going to be who can like hold on for that race, or potentially there's other teams that may not have races beforehand too that we may not be considering, that could come out and surprise everyone. So I think personally for Maria and I, it's going to be just reassessing our strategy that we had and seeing how we can optimize that based also on how we're feeling after multiple races too. I think that we have room to potentially push our running a little more than we did in Miami. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with our plan going into to Chicago.
Good. That's exciting to hear. I'm excited for you guys both to be doing that. How are you going to recover, obviously, because well, let's first start with your individual race. Since we have you here, it's not an international travel. So are you getting there as early as you did for the other majors like Hong Kong and Glasgow? Or are you getting to Chicago a little sooner or closer to the race?
I believe I'm getting in on the Monday or Tuesday before. Um, yeah, kind of backing off what Maria said, I'm very much someone that I like to stick with my routine as close as I can, even for a long trip. The more time I can spend in my own bed and eating my own food that I know I can have, like I find I perform better off that than trying to, you know, situate myself in a different area and environment. So yeah, I think I'm getting in, I want to say it's the Tuesday actually, so then we race on the Thursday. But for me, the flight into Chicago is only like an hour and a half from New Jersey, I believe, so it's not a big flight. And then backing off the different races, I think it's just going to be super important for me to make sure that I'm doing like an actual cool down after each race. That's not always something that I do. I try and maybe jump on the bike and spin it out a little bit after a race, but knowing that I have to make sure my body is going to back up for me the day after and the day after again, it's going to be so important that I do a good cool down so that I can recover and basically put food in my body right away too. Sometimes I know after these races, the majors, you're not hungry and it's late at night, and you know sometimes you got some digestive issues that could happen after running a hard race. So just trying to fuel myself, hydrate, and get to sleep as quickly as I can as well is going to really be the goal.
Do you sleep after the majors? Or these big races? Are you able to sleep the night after?
Yeah, I'm not too good at getting to sleep after. Like, usually it's like 2 or 3 a.m. I do get a couple hours. I know some people are just up the whole time. That's not me, but it's usually a delayed sleep. You get so wound up after those races.
These races are all taking place in the evening or at night if you're doing the relay too. So, what do you do during the day then, leading up to these?
Yeah, so during the day, like, because they are such late races, it's usually I try and get some movement done in the morning, whether it's a light jog or a bike as well, and making sure that I'm doing some mobility work. And other than that, I'm just trying to essentially keep my legs up and rested um, as much as I can before I know I have to race. I think mentally it can be really tough because on the day to day we do so much, and then having to really, like, you know, tone it back because you know you need your body to perform on the night. Um, it can be tough sometimes, but yeah.
Nice.
Jess, how are you feeling for your solo?
I'm feeling good. I think just building the confidence more, even just across the season for me throughout the majors, has been really key. Even just learning like a strategy that works for me as an athlete, and then particularly in this last training block from Glasgow into Worlds, and having the team around me that I have right now too is just so crucial for me to be able to perform.
Yeah. Jess, I think
Oh,
you're one of. Oh, she
she's
froze.
she might have
Well,
frozen.
we'll see if she comes back on. I believe she's one of 5 women athletes that did all 4 majors.
I was just going
Uh,
to say the same thing.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like to have that confidence and that experience going into each and every one of them into Worlds, I think is very valuable. Hopefully she comes back on here, but it's great that she was able to get to all those and secure her spot.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too, Anthony. I thought it was only four, but is it so Lauren Weeks, Jess Pettrow, Joanna Wettrick, who else competed?
Kate Davies
Sec
started. Kate Davies
Kate,
started all of them.
all of
Zara
them,
started
yep.
all of them.
And Zara, yep. I guess I'm looking at the ones that only that qualified in the end.
Well, they. Oh yeah, Zara didn't qualify. That's
Yeah.
true.
Did Sika Arnie or may I don't think no don't know if Sika competed in Vegas.
Sika
No, she
competed
did.
in
She
Vegas. I
competed in
don't know if she
Vegas.
competed
Yep.
in. Did she do Hong Kong? I don't remember.
I thought she did. I thought there was one that she didn't do. Maybe it was Amsterdam, but I could imagine she would because that would be close to home for her.
Yeah, unless she just wasn't in at that time. She might have needed another time before then. Uh, but it looks like Jess dropped. I don't know if she comes back on. Jess, if you're able to come back on, if you can hear us, that'd be great. If not, let's go into some of these other things we're going to talk about. First off, let's just review this last weekend. Had HYROX here in Vin, and so the men's race, Ross Walker from Great Britain laid down a 58-17. I am not I'm not familiar with him, so it's I don't know if that was his first race or not, but that's a good start if it is. If not, that's a good time to begin with. And then Aaron Woodman, second place from Ireland, 59-32, and Yannick Plantinga from the Netherlands, 61-53. So
Hey Jess.
Sorry.
he was the
No,
final.
that's all
Oh,
good.
just back.
um, oh, Anthony's just going through the results from Herenveen, but we were mentioning that you were one of very few female athletes who competed in all four majors.
Yeah, yeah, and it was such a blessing because all of those majors were actually from a role position for me. So like each major, I never really knew that I was actually going to have that opportunity to race. So the fact that I did was just so exciting.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm waiting for the plane to. The plane's almost gone. You guys must be right near the airport, are you? Yeah. No, but like honestly, Jess, kudos to you because there's a lot of conversations that go on in this sport around I'm not traveling to certain majors, and I think just kudos to you that I think the one of the reasons why you're here is you committed this season to no matter what. If you got that roll down spot, you were ready to pack your bags and go. I mean, Amsterdam, remind me, I think you literally found out 48 hours beforehand.
Yeah, it was. And that's the thing. Like each time that the opportunity came my way, it was just a no-brainer. It's like you never know in this sport whether those opportunities are going to come your way again. So you can't say no in my eyes. And then on that too, you never know what doors will open if you you do go and you do race these races, especially with how much HYROX is blowing up too. So it was never like a question to not race.
Yeah. Well, James and Georgie have commented again saying Petro has never looked so strong. Something special is brewing for her. I know it. Georgie might have a crush on you.
We're actually besties now, so
it might be actually Georgie and you that have a little female romance. Not just Teddy and Dan.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, all right, Jess, we can probably let you go. We'll probably talk about some of the results from the past weekend. I know you probably, what time is it over there?
6:15.
Yeah, it's probably dinner time for you.
I'll head out. But thank you guys so much for having me on here. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jess.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for jumping on.
Jess.
No problem. We'll chat soon. Bye.
See you in Chicago.
That was great. I'm glad Jess was able to jump on. I'm glad Maria was also able to be there. It's fantastic that they would do that. Too bad we didn't get too much time with them. I was interested in some of the doubles that we could hear them both talk about it. But in the future, guys, we will try to have more athletes, more teams, get insight from them as well. And so just going back to the HYROX Heerenveen results, the women, you had Linda Meyer. So I think everybody knows who Linda is. German athlete. She ran a 62:29. Linda has been a staple in the Elite 15 for several years. Her highest finish at Worlds was second in 2022. But she's been on the world stage, and last year I believe she was fifth place. Also in Heerenveen, Anne Stelyard, I don't know how to say that, Netherlands, 67:33, and Dagmar van Eyck, Netherlands, 68:02. So Linda obviously put up a great performance. It doesn't look like she was pushed, winning by over 5 minutes. And I don't even know if that was from the same heat. So great job to her. And that looked like some fun racing. I saw the course map and where they were at. They were on an ice rink. It looked like a really cool, like almost perfect loop with the curves and the straights. So it was a really cool setup. Before we go into the Berlin and Incheon races that are coming up this weekend, let's go back, Bernice, and talk about the relay because we know who all the captains are. I want to give each captain their due. So just starting off, USA, Lauren Weeks, my wife, she's captain.
Of course, USA is mentioned first, Anthony.
Well, what do you think? I put it first. You know what? I put them maybe in the order I assumed that they were going to finish in.
Oh, no. Australia needs to come back up on the top there.
I have to say, like, I'm not super attached to, like, the country, like, whichever country it is. I want to see my athletes do really, really well. So, but obviously, like, with it being USA, I would really like to see JK do really well on his portion. I'd like to see Bo do really well on his portion. Well, if JK's on the team. Joanna's will pick him, right? You assume.
I don't know.
But, like, if my athletes are in there, I'd like to see them do super well on their portions. But maybe the USA team still wins.
We'll see.
And then we're looking at, so that's USA. Australia, Joanna Weisstrick is the team captain. For England, you have Jake Dearden. I think everybody knows Joanna, but Jake, sorry, did I skip? No. We talk about Joanna all the time.
I think looking through this list, look, I could be wrong, but I think it'd be pretty high chances that Joanna would be the youngest captain looking at this list. Joanna Weisstrick, obviously the best Australian female HYROX athlete out there. I think she's going to do a great job, not only I guess, as captain, as relay captain, but also just in her very first World Championships. I mean, the crazy thing about Joanna, for anyone who doesn't know, is that a year ago, 12 months ago, Joanna, I don't think even knew what HYROX is, and her whole life has changed in less than 12 months. So her first race was in Melbourne last year, which I'm going to say was, I think, the first weekend of July or somewhere around there. It literally less than a year ago. So it's crazy what she's achieved. But yeah, then England, as you say,
Well,
Anthony,
before you
Jake
go that,
Deedon.
for
Oh, yeah.
Australia, Joanna's a great captain. Were you surprised it wasn't JK?
Yeah, I probably was surprised. Again, I was probably going back to what I was talking about before. Like, I'm just not sure if Hyrox is kind of having that game plan of, changing it around, which, as I said, I can understand that point of view, but there's another part of me that goes, I think it should be based on the best performances that year. I mean, you're talking, Anthony, that they want to get into the Olympics. When I look at what they do for the Olympic relay teams, or Olympic swimming or athletics relay teams, they usually pick the best performer, but also the one who's going to have the best leadership experience. So, look, I'm sure it would have been a tough call between James and Joanna, but James has won two majors this season. He's won the Elite 15 doubles. Joanna has won one major this season and has also won the Elite 15 doubles. So she's up there as well. But I guess it just comes down to how HYROX, what their criteria is for picking these captains.
Yeah. So we'll move on then. England, we saw Jake Dearden. We already talked about Kate here, but Jake, just for what he is, he's obviously JK's partner in the Elite 15 doubles. So they're obviously a super strong team. Jake's a former ultra marathoner, ran a 2:28 marathon in Berlin last September, and he's also only 25 years old. And he's one of the Red Bull sponsored athletes. So big name in HYROX for getting this. And if you guys haven't already, go back, go to Red Bull TV, watch Beyond the Rocks episodes 1 through 4 that are out. Those are awesome. Jake is obviously highly featured in some of them, being a Red Bull athlete. All right, moving on. New Zealand, you got Bo Wills, another ANZ athlete, right over there. Bo also, he's in our program, so rooting for him. He's also another person who is qualified for individual, relay, and doubles. So the first 4 captains that we've mentioned so far are all like that. They're doing all 3 races. And you talk about Spain. Oh, and Bo had just started a YouTube channel, by the way. Spain, you got Elena Ruco Chaz. Elena qualified for the Elite 15 doubles in Houston with Morgan Schultz. They were the team that took 3rd in Houston from a later heat. So great job that she's able to get it. She's originally from Spain, but they live in Chicago. Her husband is, we'll refer to him as the husband of Elena instead of her as the wife, but her husband is Peleo Menendez Fernandez.
So I wonder, will she pick her husband?
Maybe.
Could cause some controversy at home.
He is also qualified for Elite 15 individual and doubles. Then you go down, Germany has Tim Weinisch. You wrote a note here, Bernice, about Tim. And yeah, that is true. So Tim has qualified now 3 years in a row for the World Championships, but the past 2 years he's had to pull out due to a last-minute injury, including in 2023. Tim was the Elite 15 male that pulled out and allowed JK 20 minutes before the race to jump in and race the World Championships in 2023.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't happen again to Tim, because he's had a great season, Tim. This season, so it'd be good to see him finally on the start line for the solos. But yeah, no, great to see him as team captain.
Yeah. And then if we want to keep going here, we got Scotland, Graham Holiday. He was also captain last year. Sweden, Hugo Hugemark. A lot of people, I think they just call him Huge Hugo. He's a big machine guy, really fast, quick dude. He was also, I believe, team captain last year. If he wasn't captain, he was on the team last year. You got France. You got Alan Cow, um, who did he make? Yeah, he made Elite 15 doubles, right? In the London race, they were third, or did they just miss out?
Yeah. Oh, did they? I think they might have
I think
just
they
missed
just,
out.
I think they
I
just
think they
missed
came
out both in.
fourth.
I think they were
Yeah.
fourth in both London and Paris. Uh, and then Ireland, you have Sean Noble. I think we've all heard about Sean this season. Another great athlete. Great job for him to represent Ireland. He has a fast PR. I think his PR race is 55:30, and he's had a couple in the 56s. So a great athlete there. Italy, same captain as last year, Camilla Massa. If anybody doesn't know who Camilla is, you should absolutely go give her a follow. She's highly representative of the sport. She also qualified out of London for the Elite 15 doubles. She was in several of the Elite 15 majors this year, but unfortunately never was able to secure her spot. So I believe she will be racing. I think she's going to be racing age group as well as the relay and the Elite 15 doubles. In Belgium, you have Tom Fransons. I don't know a lot about Tom. Do you know? Do you have any info on him?
No, I don't. I know Tom. He did try his hand at getting into the doubles, but oh, hang on. Did they? They actually might have qualified. I just don't know if I'm getting the wrong Tom. I'm just gonna quickly check.
I think Tom did qualify. I don't know which race he qualified out
I think
of.
he actually qualified from Melbourne. Just give me one. Yep, he
Oh yeah, he did.
did. He did. Him and Peter Mays came third. That's right. I just wanted to double check it was the right Tom. So they actually flew all the way over to the Melbourne race back last December, and won one of the first qualifying spots for the Elite 15 doubles. So he will be within there.
Nice. Looking at the rest of the teams, you have the Netherlands, you have Hidde Wiersma. Hidde has been on a roll recently. So Hidde, if you don't know, guys, if you go get your level 1 for HYROX, HYROX 365, the HYROX Academy, Hidde is one of the instructors in the level 1 course. Hidde was 16th at the LCQ in Cologne in 2024. He ran the Stockholm Major in 2023 and took 14th. But in Nice last year, he was first overall for any pro athletes outside of the Elite 15. So he was overall first place in Nice without excluding all the Elite 15 athletes. This year, the last 2 or 3 weeks, Hidde ran Paris. His team took third initially and then got bumped down to fifth after the other waves ran. And then he went to the LCQ. He led the LCQ for a while and ended up finishing in second or third, qualifying him for the Elite 15 individuals. And then he ran again in London for the doubles, and him and his partner, Cherry Willingenberg, were able to qualify and make the Elite 15 doubles. So and then he was named captain of the Netherlands team. So in the last 3 weeks, Hidde went from not being on any of the Elite 15s to all of a sudden getting all 3 races over Chicago weekend. Moving on to Korea, Woonjung Jung is the captain. South Africa, Vicky McIntosh. We talked to Maria on here. Maria is captain for Canada. Maria ran in the Glasgow Major. She's put up some really good times. She was captain of Canada last year. She's running in the Elite 15 doubles with Jess, and now she's running in the Elite 15 relay, and we heard her say she's going to run age group. So 3 races for her on the weekend. United Arab Emirates, Cookie Sala is the captain. And from Mexico, they got Aldo Lozano Marquez, Morocco, Jafar Mumin, and China, Yinjin Pan. So a lot of athletes out here to watch. And I think there's going to be some really, just from looking at the captains, you're going to have some really good races. And I think the only team that I've seen announced, I guess, would be Ireland.
Yep.
And that's as soon as he was announced captain, Sean Noble put up who his team was going to be. So obviously they talked about it beforehand.
I thought, just really quickly, Anthony, I might just share my screen for everyone. This was the results from last year's relay. Obviously, keeping in mind the the team members are more than likely going to be different because we've got different captains and different people who have succeeded who will probably also be picked for this season. But I guess just for those watching, obviously England came first last year, followed by USA, followed by Germany in third spot, Italy, Belgium, I believe is that flag there. Yep. France, Canada, Australia. I was going to pose a question to you, Anthony, that you actually posed to me last week. Which country here do you think will improve their ranking from last year, at least?
Well, I think the USA goes up one spot. That's the most they can go, right?
No, USA is staying right there because Australia is going to take that number one spot.
I'm excited when the teams are announced next week. We'll see, or maybe it's next week, maybe it's later. We'll be able to go through and do a little analysis of who's on the team, and maybe we'll come back and poll what is the average race time of the individuals, what is the average race, what is the possibility for them.
I think that'd be great. Yeah, let's do that for sure for everyone.
My question is here that Canada beat Australia last year. Too bad Jess and Maria aren't on right now. I would ask them together. Is that going to happen again, or are you talking Australia?
Look, I know I'm super biased, but I tell you what, Australia's not coming eighth this year. That's for sure. I would almost guarantee they're going to come top three with the team that I believe could be the team. I'm just looking at the other teams. Oh, it's hard to say. I think England and USA will be right up there again, but they're already right up there anyway. Yeah, maybe we can come back to this, Anthony, once we actually know the teams and do more of a comparison.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good idea. But America only's got one spot to move up.
Yeah, that's it. And they won't be doing that.
So, moving on. Do you have anything else to add about the relay? Do we have any questions about the relay? I don't see anybody on here now. No, nobody is asking questions about it. We got a few people watching still.
Yeah, I think as you say, I think maybe once the teams are actually announced, people will probably have their opinions, you know.
for sure.
So we'll hopefully next week, if not the week after, whenever they announce it, we can. It'd be really good to do that bit more of a comparison between the teams and look into the team members and their average times and see what we think is going to happen.
Awesome. Okay, let's look forward a little bit because there's some exciting races. First off, we're going to look at HYROX Incheon. So Incheon is in Korea. There's been a few races there. That is this weekend, along with HYROX Berlin. I went and looked at all the starting lists and the maps for these. For Incheon, I didn't recognize any of the women's names. Granted, I can't read Korean, so I don't know. But the names that I did see, I didn't recognize any. So we'll review the results on that next week and see if any of the times put up were worth looking into the Elite 15 there. And then the men's side, the only name I recognized actually was Wonju Jung, who is the Korean captain for the relay. He ran a 60:58 as his PR in the men's open before, but I didn't see any pro races. But he is racing pro this weekend, so it'll be good for us to be able to see what he does. Perhaps we can see if how good Korea would be based on how well the captain runs.
Yeah, definitely. No, it'll be interesting to see because I don't know much about him myself anyway. So.
No, I think it's great to get these other countries involved in the sport as well because it only brings eyes to it and helps spread it. So it'll be really interesting to see that going forward. But the race I did want to look into is Berlin because my goodness, this could be an LCQ. We'll start with the men, the men's side. There are Elite 15 individuals running, including one that is qualified for Worlds, one that's qualified for doubles, some relay. So obviously, some really good people running. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 men that I recognize that have a sub 60 time. Well, actually, they're all sub 59. And then also the Mexican captain, the Mexico team captain, Aldo Lozano Marquez, who has a PR time of 60:34 in a pro race. He's racing in this Berlin race, or at least his name is on the start line as well. So it'll be interesting, again, to get another feel for how well the Mexico team could be. Because the races we've seen in Mexico, they're usually, some of them are ran up at Mexico City, which is like 7,000 feet in the air. So really high altitude. So it'd be interesting to see him run in a race that is much lower. But the men that we have going, and these are in order of their PR times that are on the start list for Berlin. Sean Noble, 55:30 is his PR time. Thomas Turdvik, 56:03, already World Championship qualified. So we get another battle here between Tomas and Sean. Yannick Schapla, 56:10. He won this race last year. Everybody, when he won, said, oh my gosh, look how fast the course is. Like, it's crazy. And now you look at Yannick, and Yannick has hit multiple 56-minute times. So obviously it wasn't just that one course for him. Sadiq El Fattori with a PR time of 56:42. So you got 4 men racing in this that have a sub 57 time. Ollie Fricker, 57:23. Alan Plow, 57:58. Peter Schiller, 57:58. Florian Gast, 58:02. Mark Dean, 58:18. And Fabian Eislauer, 58:40. Those are the men racing or lining up in Berlin. I do not think they're all in the same heat, but it'll be interesting to see how it's ran with, the expected. I think what a lot of people thought is, hey, if they're going off times next year, I want to get on this Berlin course because the times they believed were fast last year. They changed the map up, so the map's a little bit different, but still kind of you run through the rock zone, and each station is a little bit just off the corner there. So it looks like it could be quick, but you never know. Looking at the map's not going to tell you all the information. They did add a few turns, like a little up and down turn in the run, but there's more to this race this year, and people could be pushing each other to go even faster.
Definitely. And I'm just thinking, like Anthony, there's only one that you've noted here, and that's Thomas Turdvik, who is actually competing in the Elite 15 World Championships. I mean, majority of these boys, though, there's a fair few who have raced in a major before. Are they really out there this weekend to get that time qualification for next season?
I
Probably
mean,
makes sense.
I would assume that's
Yeah.
what they're looking for. I got a note that there was supposed to be, from somebody that lives in Germany. They said there's going to be 40 to 50 kilometer per hour winds possibly at some points in the day. So that could affect it. Also, what if the wind's at their back though? Because it is a one-way loop, and then you're inside the hangar for the stations. What if, maybe it pushes you along, maybe it hinders you. We don't know. It'll be very interesting to see this race.
Yeah.
Lots of interesting stuff on there. Going on to the start list of Berlin for the women's side. This list is loaded, but we already know that there's a few people that won't be going. But just names, I'm just going to read the names that are on the start list. And we can talk about who's going and who's not afterwards. But as far as times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are 15 women who have a sub 66 PR on the start list.
Wow,
like we said,
that's crazy.
This could be the LCQ.
Like you wouldn't see that at a HYROX event regularly.
No, and that's the question here as well. Is this, is everybody saying, hey, we need to get a time for next year? This is a race we could do it at. So there's a lot moving there. As far as names that are on the start list, you have Lauren Weeks, Kate Davey, Lauren Griffith, Megan Jacoby, Lena Putters, Zara Piergianni, Jana Liebenstead, Ida Matilda Steensgaard, Alina Brower, Viola Oberlander, Simone Feld, Magdalena Schubert, Sabrina Hahn, Anje Hardes, Beatrice Ardolt, and Sabrina Rothig. I think I said all those names right. Oh,
I think you did.
Yeah.
Again, like same as the men's, just a massive stacked list. I'm wondering when they will actually pull up, probably not until after World Championships this season, when they'll actually pull the time qualification leaderboard up online again for the next season. It'll be really interesting to see where everyone falls.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and some of the names we know aren't going, but some of the PR times here, like you look at like Lena Putters with a 60:53, Zara Piergianni with a 61:44, Jana 61:59, Ida 62:19. And interesting enough, Ida is the only that I know of, the only Elite 15 qualified for Worlds that's still signed up for this race. So it's like one um, additional person there. And then you have Viola, who Viola has had a pretty turbulent season, but Viola's been a staple in the sport for a very long time. You know, she's about to go to Berlin, which I think she lives. I don't actually, maybe I don't know. I thought she lived close to it, so it's not a bad race for her to like get in there and get a good time at.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But exciting start list for both men and women for Berlin, and we will definitely review that race next week. Is there? That is all the notes I have for this week. Was there anything you wanted to add? Again, I just want to say thank you to Maria and Jess for their time jumping on here.
Yeah, it was really great to hear from them both, and I'm excited to dive more into the relays, to be honest. I mean, today was only the kind of the tip of the iceberg, as we know the captains, so I'm really keen to look a bit further into that uh, once all the teams are announced, hopefully soon.
Yeah, it's exciting. Next week we should be able to see. Maybe we'll be able to see it, unless they do it like one at a time release or something. I don't know how they're going to do that, but we might be able to see the relay captains. Maybe they'll announce prize money. We'll be able to review Berlin, and we have a few more topics, guys, that we're real excited about. So if you guys would like to tune in next week, we'll be on at 3 p.m. Pacific time. We will be on time. And if we have those technical difficulties, we solve it earlier than we did today.
Yep.
And that timing then is Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, which is 6 p.m. Eastern, which is 11 p.m. London, and 8 a.m. for Australia East Coast.
Awesome. Thanks
8
for
a.m. Thursday. It's Thursday
yeah,
for you in the
thanks.
future.
Yes, it is. That's right. We are in the future. No, thanks. As Anthony said, we will figure out these technical difficulties. That wasn't ideal this morning, but thanks for putting up with us, guys. And as always, we will upload this within 24 hours, so that will be available wherever you get your podcasts as well.
Awesome. Thank you,
Awesome.
Bernice.
Thank you.
Do you have any?
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.